Good afternoon, everyone. Rob Luecke with our Capital Group and Shop Prop Realty. I wanted to take a couple seconds to go over properties and how to potentially use Shop Prop and our Capital Group together to maximize your search efforts if you're either an investor looking to buy a property or if you're an end user. Let's go over some of the risk associated with buying a property at the trustee, because obviously we all know how to go to the market and search for properties for sale. And you can do that on our website. And just to let you know, we have every property that's listed for sale in the state of Washington or California on our website. Nice thing about using Shop Prop is that obviously you're going to get the commission, share in our commission that is paid by the seller, where that normally would go directly into your agent's pocket. So instead of that, we're your customers. But let's say you said, I'm willing to take a look at potentially buying properties that aren't listed on the market, and I'm willing to at least hear about how to potentially do that. There are a couple things that you have to be aware of when you're buying a property out of foreclosure, because it's not for everybody. At a trustee sale, remember, a trustee sale occurs when a person owner ends up not paying on the property for a variety of different reasons, and that lender then can foreclose on the property, and then they file a notice of default, and then there's a trustee sale that occurs. And what we do is we gather all that information and put it into our software, and then we search through all those properties that are coming to auction or coming to sale, and then as we do the analysis and go through the title and stuff, we come up with those properties that we consider to be good values. Those properties are properties that are where the opening bid, when a property goes to in a trustee sale, the lender, the mortgage company, ends up putting an opening bid on that property. That opening bid is set by the lender, and they're basically saying you have to at least offer this much if you're an investor or an end user, somebody that's planning on living in that property at trustee sale. If you're an end user, what you have to do, or an investor, you actually have to at least offer $1 higher than that opening bid. So for example, if the opening bid is $300,000, the trustee would come out and he would say XYZ property is being sold. The opening bid is set at $300,000. Do I hear any higher bids? An investor or an end user, or if you're one of our customers, we'll say plus $1. All right, $300,000, $1. Are there any other bids? If there's no other bids, they'll say going once, going twice, going 3 times, sold. At that point, we give the cashier's checks, because you have to pay 100% in cash. We give those cashier's checks to the trustee. They give a trustee receipt, and then we receive the deed, or the bidder, whoever our bidder is, receives the actual deed, and then recorded and so forth. A lot of people obviously don't have 100% cash to buy a particular property. In that situation, we can set up bridge financing. Bridge financing basically allows us to bid on our client's behalf. So if you find a property in the software and that you say, hey, I'd like to bid on that, or we send you over a property that makes sense for you, in that situation, we could set up a bridge financing where after we purchase the property, you come into our office or come into one of our partners' office, sign the loan documents, and then you would want to refinance as quickly as possible. So there are a couple of things that you want to be aware of when you're looking at buying a property out of foreclosure, because it doesn't fit everybody. Number one, a lot of times we can't see the inside of the property. If it's not listed on the market, or the previous owner doesn't want to show it, then obviously we can't get in. So when we're doing our analysis, what we always do is we always take all those things into consideration. So if that doesn't meet your criteria, if you say, hey, if I'm buying a property as an end user, I need to see the I need to see the inside of the property, then buying a property out of trustee sale probably isn't going to make sense for you. There are those situations where a property is a short sale, and we can actually get clients into those properties prior to the auction time, and those particular properties, the client is able to get in, view it, and actually see the inside of the property prior to actually purchasing. So that's one thing. If you're an investor and for some reason that scares you as well, it might not make sense. But if you're somebody that can get around thought process of, okay, I don't need to see the inside of a property necessarily if I can buy it at the right price. What I mean by that, if the property's value is $500,000 and I can buy that property at $450,000, that gives me a lot of room to put where I could make repairs and do other things inside that property after I purchase it. We can also make some pretty good analysis prior to purchasing that property based on old data that we have, whether it be via pictures and so forth, that we're able to also make pretty good analysis of the condition of that property. So if you do decide you want to do that, remember, you can always go and you can sign a buyer's agency agreement with us. That buyer's agency agreement says that if you buy a property at foreclosure, while you have access to our software or a property that we tell you about, that you're going to pay us a 2 to 3% commission depending on how many properties you buy. If you're buying one, it's 3%. If you're buying two, obviously, 2, 3, 4 properties, you're going to get a discount on the commission if you're an investor. But what it will allow you to do is go in and use our software. And when you use our software, you can then go ahead and search for properties, for example, that are coming to the market. At that point, for example, let's just go back and look at, for example, let's go look at an old auction rather than current. But let's look at an old auction. You can search for properties, and you can search for properties that are only hot properties if you want. And that'll give you properties that we've already done a lot of research on and have kind of come up with and said these are going to be the best properties that are coming to auction this week. And remember, how we're setting that is the bank has set that opening bid and the value of the property is high enough that it makes sense for us to purchase the property. And then we've done the other analysis where we've taken out cost. Have we seen the inside of the property? We've obviously done the drive-by and so forth, where we say, okay, these are the properties that are going to be the top that our clients should be at least taking a look at. So you could go on and you could search real quickly and just go, oh, am I interested in Everett? No, here's Rose Street. Oh, no, I'm not interested, not interested, not interested. And all of a sudden you see a property, for example, where I say, oh, I am interested in Kirkland, Washington. I'd like to see what that looks like. The opening bid on this particular property, there's the opening bid, was $117,215. We had a value on this property of $250,000, and the purchase price ended up being $251,000. Now you might say, well, why would someone pay $251,000? We didn't buy it, but another end user did, because that was that price that we actually put into the market. When we said our value is $250,000, you can see that this other estimated value is $307,000. Our OCG value is already at a discounted price. So we couldn't see the inside of this property. So we had to make an assumption at least that we were going to have to do repairs. Obviously, most likely, considering based on old listing data, this property is probably not going to need a lot of repairs on the inside. But it's as simple as that. And then you go ahead and you simply would say, okay, well, those are all the properties. I'm going to look at that one. And let's say if you wanted to actually bid on the property, you could either call us or you could actually put in a bid directly into the software and say you're interested in bidding on it. At that point, you would just say you're interested in bidding on the property. There's a little order box that's popped up, and you'll be able to place an order in on the property. At that point, when you place an order in on that particular property, it'll show up in your order box. Bear with me one sec. It'll show up here in your order box. These are orders that I have in on particular properties. As you can see here, it says 15%, 25%. That's because I'm actually interested in buying a portion of those properties. Just like all of these properties, I own a portion of them, and then other people that are involved with our capital group, other partners of our capital group, own the other portion of those properties. But it gives you a good opportunity to go ahead and get in. And like I said, even if you don't have 100% of the cash, and again, as you know, a lot of times properties are postponed and canceled. So rather than have to go through running down to auction and doing all this data, what you can do is you simply can take that short period of time to go on, search for properties, or let us know what your criteria is. We'll let you know properties that are hitting that criteria, and then we simply can bid for those properties for you at auction once you sign our documentation. If you decide to go that route, you'll sign another document that basically says if we bid for you, you have we require 20% down, 20% down to go ahead and come in for that bridge loan to get you that property. Once you have the property, you're going to want to refinance as quickly as possible, because all bridge loans are at 2 points plus 12% interest. And again, remember, when you hear those figures, oh, well, that's 3% commission, 2% for a bridge loan, you have to calculate that into the purchase price of your property. So, for example, on that $250,000 Kirkland house that we had an OCG value on, you would want to go ahead and say, okay, well, I have to take out my 5%, right? So I'm going to take out my 5% or $11,000, $12,000, and now I'm going to go ahead and now the highest I can go on that property is $240,000. So I'm going to subtract that, and my opening bid is just going to take into consideration all those costs, so it makes sense to go ahead and purchase it. Anyhow, if you have any questions on this, feel free to give us a call anytime. And if you're an investor, obviously, for investors, it makes a lot of sense to think about, not only think, but to potentially do it, especially if you're looking at purchasing properties, to go ahead, use the software, find properties that make sense for you, and own a piece of them, because obviously we're doing well on a lot of properties that we're buying. You can always look at our past performance. If you go to our past performance, you can always see that. That's on our main page. And if you go to, give me one sec. Anyhow, if you go to our capital group and then go to past performance, you can see all the properties that we've purchased. Here's our latest acquisitions that we bought, and you can see this one actually we're taking possession. This one's pending. This property is pending. We bought this property at $254,000. This property is pending right now at $350,000. So anyhow, there's some great opportunities still out there in the market. Feel free to give us a call anytime if you have any questions. Thanks a lot. Also, by the way, on Shop Prop, remember, from a Shop Prop standpoint, it always makes sense if you say, hey, if you know what, foreclosure's not for me. Remember, you can always go ahead and click on the buyer section of our website and take a look at what the math looks like for people that are buying, if you were selling and buying your own home. But if you're just buying a $500,000 home, remember, there's going to be a $15,000 commission that is paid by the seller to the agent that represents you. What we do is we give back a big portion of that commission to our customers. So anyhow, we'd love to have you as a client or a partner. Feel free to contact us anytime. Thanks a lot.